Hello, my friends. Welcome at my YouTube channel. This is Marta, and I've got another super project for you today. I've just been making a few of the background pieces, and I've decided to grab a few and just turn them into the card. This is those three panels you can see over here, and basically what I was doing, I just took my ink and sprays and I just spread it over my glass mat, and then I was just smudging the cardstock until it was just, a result I was pleased with. So what I'm gonna be doing now, I just want to do some stamping and embossing, and I want the papers to hold one on top of another, so that way when I'll stamp the image I will have this continuously nicely flowing pattern. I'm using this embossing ink, and I will be embossing with the help of the blue color embossing powder. As you can see, I'm just doing it quickly. There's no overthinking to it. I didn't do any I didn't use any powder or anything to take off the static. This is just a blurred image. I'm not even careful about the stamping. I'll just do it 3 times randomly here and there. All I'm taking care of is that the pattern is actually pressed on those 3 panels, like on the front one, and then there is continuation of the flow on the ones which are underneath. I am using my heat tool to set the powder, and then I'll be doing a little bit more stamping as well. For my next layer of stamping, I used the clear embossing powder. I also want to quickly tell you about today's inspiration for my card. I was looking through the Instagram, and so many of my crafty friends, they're just making such an amazing job, and their projects and cards are just unbelievably beautiful. So, feeling so inspired, I've just decided to create something like, joyful, happy, and it's just a general scrapbooking card layout. I'll be making my own flowers and leaves, and just other embellishments for the card. I don't have any paper collections with the elements to cut out. I really love them, and every time I see cards made with those beautiful, gorgeous collections, I am so envy, and I just want to have them all. But unfortunately I don't have anything like that. I'll probably will order some papers anytime soon. However, I do have a large collection of the papers. For those of you who watch my videos, you'll probably heard from me saying this more than one time. I had this incredible luck in my life that when I was start making my cards, there was a lovely lady in my local town. She was closing down the craft store because she was planning to go on a crafty retirement, and I was lucky enough and blessed that I've managed to buy some of her collection. She even just gave me tons and tons of papers and other crafty goodies, and that was a really bargain for me, and because of that I do have a lot of papers, so I'm not always buying those new trendy collections. But I wanted to make something to be more trendy and just something nice and play, and I decided to recreate this style and make my own cutout elements like flowers and leaves. So this is what I'm gonna be doing here. I had this little chipboard piece with the circle frame with a little ornament on the side, and just to add it a little bit extra interest, I emboss it with the silver embossing powder. I am taking my panels and I'm just distressing the edges just to give them a little bit more dimension. I am attaching my panels with the help of the double-sided tape and a little bit of the liquid glue. I am not being very precise here because my idea is to have this dimensional look. I would achieve the better dimension if I would back the papers with some found foam or the dimensional squares. However, I don't want the card to be too bulky, so I'm just doing this simple trick and just add the glue in the middle section, and I let the edges to be raised a little bit. However, it still looks very dimensional, and this is something you can do. If you don't have this dimensional squares, you can just add the glue on the middle section of your panel and then let the edges to rise itself. I am gonna be attaching all my other elements with the help of the liquid glue. But before I'll do that, I'm trying to find the focal point for this frame. I had this little fairy and that was lying in my scrap drawer for years because this is very old paper pad I had in my house for forever, literally forever. But I remember that I still got some of that paper pad left and I was trying to find it in my drawer. This is the, as you can see, I do have a tons of papers, and this is just the small collection. It's 6x6 paper pads, and this is actually the little one as I have. Majority of my cardstock is in 12x12 size or A4 size as well. So as you can see, I do have a tons of papers. Some of them actually, the most of them, it comes from like, you know, past decade, and they may not be as fanciest and the greatest looking. However, I do love them, and I am so blessed to have all these collections and all these papers. So this is the main reason, as I mentioned before, that I am not chasing the newest trend, because my a cabinet with my paper is basically full as it is. So I'm trying to play with what I have, and I've decided to use a little bit fairy, which is like in different position on a paper pad, so that way I could cut the full circle and have it nicely framed with this chipboard piece. I just cut it with the with my scissors, and now I am just using the scissors to make the edges, just to give it a nicely rough look, and that way I don't have to worry that the circle is not cut it perfectly. It's not gonna be too much visible underneath the frame anyway. For the minute, I was actually thinking of attaching the second fairy as well, but I just give up that idea. Now it's time for me to work a little bit on my flowers. I had these 2 white flowers done, and they were lying in my craft room for a long time, so I've decided it will be a good time to use it. I was thinking maybe of using additional like a golden frame, but then I just decided that I don't want to incorporate any more colors to the card. It's nice as it is. It's got this soft green and blue colors combined with the silver, and I think this is enough. I'm taking my iron and I'll be just starting to form my foie Miran flowers. The flowers, as you can see, this is a freehand cut. This is nothing like fancy. I was just cutting the squares, and then I turned the squares to 4 petal flowers. All the flowers were made from the white piece of the foie Miran. After I cut the petals, I use my soft pastels to add a little bit colors. Now I'm trying to find the perfect stamens for my flowers. I've decided I'm not gonna be changing the color, and I still leave the same yellow stamens which are on this larger white flowers. So I am using my flower shaping tool to help me to get the proper dimension, and just to shape the flowers a little bit. Once I'll have them ready, I'll be gluing 2 flowers together, and then I will add a little bit of the stamen into inside of the flower. I am using a hot glue gun to help me to stick everything together, and I'm trying to, form my flowers in the fingers, because once you add a drop of the hot glue, it's nice and heat the foam, and it allows you to shape it a little bit as well in your hands. I had this little piece of the background paper which I also created last night. I just sprayed the yellow spray on a cardstock, and then I had a little bit dirty stencil, and I just dab it here and there, which had a little green color on it, and that way I achieved this look. I am free drawing a couple of leaves, and then I'll cut them out. And once I have those leaves cutted, I will be adding some glitter glue and some ink to the flowers, just to give them a little bit more interest and to dark them up a little bit as well. The glue I'm using just now is a pearlescent glue from the company called Glitz It. I'm not sure whether they are still on a sale, because I've got them as a present. And here's again another amazing story. When I was starting, as I said, I've met the lovely lady. She was closing down the craft store. However, recently I also met another lovely lady who is now retired art teacher, and she is downsizing her craft room as well, and she's been just passing along tons of the beautiful products to me as well. So as you can see, I am just luckiest person on earth, and this is like amazing. I still cannot believe that I had so much luck in my life, that every so often I'm just getting this lovely surprise from God, and I've been blessed with all these crafty goodies. So I'm trying to make the best use I possibly can to show both ladies that I really love their supplies, and I'm trying to use it on all my projects. I use one of the oval dies from the Creative Expression range, and I cut myself the circle. Now I'm just rambling through my die cut piece box. This is something I really like to do whenever we go downstairs. Our son is sleeping, and me and my husband and like my parents, if they're here and we watch some movie or something, I like to take my little die cutting machine, like the teeny tiny one I showed you before, and then I just use some scrap papers to cut some leaves or other like little elements, and I'll keep them aside. And this is really something which helps me to get rid of my scrap pieces, and also having those additional baskets with die cut pieces like ready on the go, it's really speed up the whole working process for me as well. I use my distress inks to add the color to the leaves, and now I am stamping over it with some memento inks as well. This way you get this beautiful look on your leaves, and it's just something which really add the interest to the card, and this is one of my favorite techniques as well. I'm also gonna be stamping those green leaves, those light green leaves, which I cut myself before, and then I will be also adding the color to the edges. That way it really adds the dimension to the leaf, and it makes it looks even more real than normally. I also have selection of the white leaves, which I cut with using Romantic Vines die set from the Spellbinders range. I want to embellish those leaves with the same stamp, however I'll be doing it with the help of the blue embossing powder. This is another thing I really like to do, to add the embossing powders to the leaves using some text or interest background stamps. And this is really something, makes them look like they would be cut from some fancy papers, but this is really just a regular cardstock, nothing fancy with it. However, once you embellish them, this is just a game changer for me, and I think it just takes all those embellishments to the next level. Now I have all the elements ready and I could start assembling my card. I just want to quickly show you this beautiful background I created, and I really love it how it turned out. So I'm starting from the gluing my frame and this lovely fairy circle which I cut before. And this is a thing which I did and I forgot so many times. I'm so eager to start gluing the things together on the card that I actually forgot to add some florist sizzle which I had ready. However, I'm gonna be adding it on a little bit later. So I'll be able to fix it as well. I am gluing this white frame underneath, but I'm just shifted slightly over the right upper corner just so add additional interest as well. On top of the leaves and flowers, I also have two shapes. It's like a floral decorative elements, and this is something I've made from the paper clay. I just use one of the molds I have, and this is also embellishments I did myself. I just stuck the paper clay into the mold, wait until it was dry, and then I have the couple bits of those like clay elements as well. So now I'm trying to squeeze that florist sizzle underneath my frame and this little element. And I'm using the hot glue gun to attach everything. And it's just a matter of trying to see where's the elements looking the best. It usually takes me an awfully long time because I'm a very indecisive person and I'm just changing and changing. But making those scrapbooking cards, it's actually a good exercise for me to, you know, try to be faster and just to let it flow and let it be, and do not overthink my projects. Because normally when I'm doing my cards, I will be trying and maybe like changing the colors, try to see for the perfect shade or shape and everything. But with this messy look, like a shabby chic style cards, I'm really allowing myself to all this creative juicing flowing, and just to let the creative chaos just to, you know, show on a card. And this is something I really enjoy to do, and I'm just falling in love. Since I did the other project, I just fall in love with this card style, and I'm thinking I'll be doing it more and more often. As you can see, I am still struggling to find the perfect placement for all my little elements. However, I am on the clock because I can only do the cart once my son is sleeping. It's very early in the morning. He's just about to wake up, so I need to hurry up with everything because once he wake up, this is me done, and I'm not gonna be able to scrub until he actually go for his nap. But once he's sleeping, just now I am making this voiceover. So this is also another thing which I really enjoy, because before before having a baby I was just like, slow with making everything. But once I become a mom, I just need to, divide my time, and obviously majority of the time I spent with my son. And then I can only scrub whenever he's sleeping, or whenever my husband is home. But usually when my husband's home, I am still going to work. So I'm really trying to squeeze my crafting time in between, this little time frames I have. So this card in total, I think it took me like hour and a half to actually complete the card. And just so you know, because sometimes I do notice myself when I watch the YouTube videos of other creators, and their work is absolutely lovely and amazing, and sometimes they do those fantastic and spectacular projects. However, they put everything on such a speed up like pace for the video, then you watch the video and you have this impression that, oh, it was so easy, they just like did here, bam bam bam, glue here, glue there, and the card was ready. But I know that from my own experience and crafting, that things doesn't go as fast as on the videos. And for me, for making this card completely start to finish, and please bear in mind that I also had the background pieces done and I had the flowers done before, so it still took me hour and a half to complete this card. I also decided to add a couple of those berries which I've bought on my holiday when I was in Poland. I actually managed to buy a whole pack of them, and it was incredibly cheap, and I just love them. And I think they also add this additional interest to the card as well. I'm just trying to quickly find the perfect position for them, and once I'm happy with it, I will glue them down with my hot glue gun. Because my video is nearly about to go to the end, I just want to take a second to say a huge thank you to everyone who watch my video, who comment and subscribe to my channel, and just generally being here with me. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This really means a lot to me, that you're supporting me and spend your time with me and comment on my video. I really love to read your comments, and to have this little conversation with you and hear and see what you have to say, and the ideas. Some of you really brilliant to give me some tips for improving my techniques and my style. I really love to especially once you write me a comment with your advice and share your own experience, because at the end of the day I'm still making those videos, firstly to show my work, but also secondly, and I think most importantly, to learn myself. Because as we all know, the best way to actually learn something is through teaching. And once I'm making those videos and then I am having a chance to look on them, even now when I'm doing the voiceover, I can see the things which I did, and that gives me idea what I could improve for the next time. And this is something which really I start seeing more improvements since I start doing the YouTube videos. So this is my tip for all of you, if you thinking of, you know, starting making videos, just go for it. It's really amazing adventure. And if you already do videos as well, please give me a link to your channels. Leave it in the comment section. If I'm not already subscribed to your channel, I will try to, you know, go and have a look on your videos and just to, you know, see your inspiration and what's your make as well. Lastly, I'm trying to remove all the glue strings with the help of this heat tool, and then I am adding couple of the Nuvo crystal drops. The drops I'm using, I think they're called Morning Dew. Anyway, this is the one. They're just dry, clear, like water droplets. They're a little bit like not perfectly clear once you add them to the card. However, when they dry, they really have this impression that this is just like a drops of water. I will add couple of the photos and, you know, some close-up look for the card so you could see how beautifully the card turned out. Thank you once again for being here with me. I hope you enjoyed this time, and I hope to see you here another time as well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Stay blessed, Marta.